Hello, welcome to another episode of Roof It Up. Today, my guest has built a YouTube channel, literally, with over 75,000 people. And he's covering stocks, crypto, and how wealth actually gets built. He interviews CEOs, founders, and the people making real financial moves. And today, ladies and gentlemen, he's here on Roof It Up to share what he knows with roofing contractors. Jacob Rant, welcome to Roof It Up. We are so pumped to have you.
Well, Tice, thank you for having me on today. I've been highly looking forward to being here with you today since our last interview on my channel. So all the audience members, hopefully they can get some good, good opinions, good insight from what I say. Even though me personally, I'm not in the roofing industry, but I have definitely dealt with many people in roofing, carpentry, construction, business owners, small, big, large, everything. So just to, I guess, talk about myself a little bit. So I am Jacob Rant. I started this YouTube channel in 2021 towards the end. And the reason I started it was, during those COVID lockdowns, a lot of people, including myself, we were sitting at home just watching YouTube, watching movies, just kind of trying to pass the time. And so I've been watching a lot of financial videos and investing based upon their opinions and their insights. And frankly, a lot of them were actually wrong, which unfortunately I did lose a few dollars in that. And so I said, you know what? My own moves have made me money. So why don't I try this out? Maybe start with one video, see where it goes. And I did. I started one video. I got maybe 100 views. No biggie. Did another video, and probably by the 30th, 40th video, I started getting a much better subscriber count, much better view count, because what I was talking about was, of course, stocks at the time, crypto, and just having common sense when it comes to investing and building wealth. By no means am I a millionaire by any means. However, I am able to create systems where I can go to sleep and still make money through investing and have the market work for me and not me, panicking every evening at 3:59 when the markets are closing, hoping my stocks go up. So I believe that investing is not as complicated as most people think it is. I think it's very simple. Just know what you're doing, know the companies you're investing in, know the businesses you're investing in, and of course, the people that you surround yourself with. So I've been at this for about 4 or 5 years at this point. And yes, thank you. I have 75,000 plus subscribers. Many of them come from so many different backgrounds and demographics all over the world. Many of them are young investors, some are executives, professional investors, and it's always good to have conversations with business owners, especially during a time where the middle class, the business class was kind of being eliminated because of the COVID lockdowns, and a lot of people had to shut down, unfortunately. So when you came on my channel, I was able to get an insight in the roofing world that I did not even know, and how roofing and technology kind of merged. And so I kind of took that, went back to the drawing board, and I started looking at what investments can I invest in that can help me, of course, and of course help others as well. So after you, I had the chance to interview a gentleman, a business owner named Mark Story, who is a CEO of his own business. He went from carpentry, construction, and then he became a business owner. And I got a lot of insight from him as well. So I hope that the knowledge that I gained from you, from him, and from my own personal research will help out your audience members today.
Okay, I love it. I feel like I just need to drop the mic. Like, okay, well that's done. Well, you just wrapped it up. Freaking awesome. Oh, so awesome. I love that you said, hey, I don't like what you've learned is, and I will tell you from personal testimony too, is before the stock market used to be so scary. And I feel like in a weird way, it's intentionally made to feel like that, right? And then I remember I was sitting with my aunts who were like 78, right? And they're like, oh yeah, I learned the stock market, and that's why I just travel now all the time, because I learned, and I was like, what? I was like, they learned. And so I just took a small little course, and it was like mind blowing. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not that intense. Like it is complex, but yet simple. So I don't know. I love how you were like, everyone can do that. And you're kind of like
Yeah.
sharing that, and because it feels super scary, right? You're just like looking at all these charts. You're like, what's a stop block? What's all this? What does a bear market? And what does a bear market mean? All this stuff. And then as you learn, you're like, oh, okay, cool, got it. So I love that you do that, and I love that you're like a living, walking testimony. And what you said is like you can sleep and not be panicking, right?
And I think
That
when it comes to the stock market, a lot of people are scared because, as you said, right, they see all these numbers, red, green charts, and they're like, what is this? So I think when it comes to investing, you just have to figure out your goal. What are you trying to achieve from investing? Are you trying to be a millionaire? Are you trying to make millions? Are you trying to have a monthly income? Are you trying to just maybe have something on the side that will help you supplement your job? So I think people just need to identify their goal. Don't listen to your neighbors, find a goal, do your due diligence, and I think it becomes a lot simpler at that point.
I love that. I feel like we could just do literally a podcast just on that. But let's keep going. All right. So, I have a question. So, what did you
Yes.
figure out about when you were building your audience, right? And I know you kind of touched on that a little bit, but what is it that most business owners like never do? Like when you were growing your YouTube channel, right? So you have 75,000 viewers. What did you figure out about building an audience that most business owners never do?
Thank you for that amazing question. So I have many friends who are in business and they are business owners as well. So what I figured out, especially after all my interviews, is that most business owners talk about what they do. The ones who win talk about what their customer is actually trying to become. And that is a big difference. So the business owners who grow real audiences don't just post wins. They don't just document the journey. They actually post their mistakes, the lessons, the thinking behind their decisions. People don't really follow people who are perfect. They follow people who are on a progressive and steady growth. So for example, if you're a $5 million, say, roofing contractor, and all you post is another roof done, you're pretty much going to be invisible. But if you break down why you switch suppliers to improve margins or how you structured bonuses to keep your crew loyal, now you're teaching. That's how you become the authority. It's the same in fitness, real estate, and even finance, right? We explain the why, which builds the trust. And trust is leverage, especially in this day and age of data, information, and a world where money used to be the leverage, but now it's all about attention, because attention compounds just like money does. So from my perspective, creating a finance channel was the biggest thing that I learned, is that attention follows clarity, not hype. The business owners who win long term, they don't chase trends, they actually own a category. So for example, on my channel, I don't talk about everything money. I don't talk about credit cards. I don't talk about, savings and all of that. I focus on wealth building, markets, and how regular people can think like a portfolio manager. Because if you're investing, you're pretty much trusting your money with someone who's managing your money. And so through interviews, conversations, and opening yourself up to new people, most business owners make the mistake of marketing their service instead of their skill and their mind. So the smart ones market their thinking. And if you're a $6 million roofing contractor, don't just show shingles, show decisions. Why you raised your prices. Why did you fire that client? Why did you switch from revenue to margin? That, in my opinion, is leadership content, which people would love to watch. And strategy wise, I always tell people, don't, like, especially if you're trying to get into content creation, don't do everything. Pick 3 or 4 pillars or core items that you would always like to talk about. For example, money and margin, scaling teams, turning businesses into cash flow, and so on. I think a lot of people who create content, especially business owners, they try to do everything. They try to put everything into their content when they need to just kind of narrow it down, and they repeat it. You have to repeat those themes all the time. That's how you go from contractor to someone who has a voice in the industry. And that voice in the industry attracts the opportunities that honestly money cannot buy. So for me, for example, when I created my YouTube channel, a lot of people were looking at me like, who is this person? But then once they started hearing me, and seeing what I can actually provide when it comes to knowledge, they clicked that subscribe button, compared to me just saying, buy this. And then people are like, well, why? So I think the why is the most important part for business owners, of why am I doing this in my business? Why did I make this decision, compared to just, taking pictures, taking videos, and putting up without any reason.
If you're not watching this in a video, the whole time you're talking, my mouth is kind of doing, jaw keeps dropping, and I just keep putting my hand to my head, like, what the, like, such good. Like, you just literally laid it on thick. It's so thick. You just gave steak.
It's because I think that a lot of people really need to hear this. I really don't like to fluff anything. I really don't. like even with investing, people ask me, should I invest in this? And I say, okay, well, what's your goal? If that's your goal, then go for it. If it's not, then don't even think about it. And I think that's the same with business owners, right? A lot of business owners, they look at their fellow business owners and try to emulate them, copy them, try to do what they're doing, but it may not be their style. It may not even be their style of their business. So I think everyone just needs to, or any business owner just needs to really sit down, figure out, what is my end goal? Do I want to build this business and then maybe sell it in 10 years or 20 years? Or do I want to actually take this and make it a generational business where I can pass it down? So I think a lot of people just need to understand what is your goal. And many business owners fail because they miss that vision. They miss that goal that they were trying to do, but they just sometimes do too much.
Right. It's like the shiny thing syndrome, right? Instead of being
Yeah.
like, let me focus, let me like go deep, narrow. It's like, well, that's new and that's new. Because I actually think a lot of business owners, especially like in the blue collar world, I think we have some ADHD. So it's like, ah, this is getting a little, it's just like always kind of like hyper focused on, like one of the new things. So I think the discipline of being like, no, I'm going to go in narrow, I'm going to go in deep, and I'm going to constantly ask myself, what is the goal, right? Because then it's like it just keeps you grounded.
Yeah,
So
and it
I
can be
love that.
scary too. It can be scary, which is totally understandable. But sometimes, as we always say in business and finance, no risk, no reward. So if you want to make that jump, take that jump, because when else are you going to take the jump?
Literally, literally. Love it. Okay, so question. So AI is everywhere right now, right? As we all know.
Yeah.
And how are you actually using it to create better content? And what has it changed about the way maybe you do your show, or how maybe you show up for your audience? Has it had any impact on that?
So I love AI. I've been using AI before, I would say like the past few years. I know when ChatGPT first came out, when pretty much I would say the pioneer of, the average AI user using app. I know the others like Gemini and Gronk, they came out pretty much years later, but I think ChatGPT really, really helped me. I know a lot of people talk about how AI is going to replace their job, replace them, and so on. But when it comes to actual content creation, for me, AI probably will never replace me because it has actually made me faster and sharper in what I do. For example, I use it like a research assistant. I like to brain dump my ideas into the search bar. AI helps me structure, tighten, or challenge my thinking. So it saves me a lot of hours, but the voice, the opinions, the knowledge, the stories, that is still me. So, for example, if I'm breaking down a roofing company, and it can go from $3 million to $10 million, I'll use AI to model different scenarios, margins, hiring timelines, marketing spend. And so I get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly, and it gives it to me in such a clear way. And at the end of the day, the insight still comes from my experience and my pretty much knowledge. So think of it like using power tools instead of a hammer. The roofer still builds the house, the tools just make it more efficient. So the biggest shift for me in AI is consistency. AI removes excuses. So if you're not posting now, it's not because you don't have time, it's because you didn't want to. AI should actually be making your life easier, whether it's in content creation, business ownership, even just, I know AI is used sometimes as a therapist, but hey, everyone's got their own thing. But I think just use AI as a way to make your tedious jobs that you don't want to do much easier. So, for example, as a finance guy, I treat AI like leverage, just like debt or technology in a business. So, if you use it right, the multiples are amazing. If you use it wrong, it actually exposes your weaknesses. So I use AI to stress test ideas, summarize earnings reports, model investment scenarios, all those boring financial papers that we used to spend hours reading. Now I just plug it in, and within 5-10 minutes, I have a summary of, can I invest in this? No, because of these cons and these pros. Should I invest in that? And I think that's what it helps me out. And for example, if I'm breaking down why, that's just an example here, small cap stocks might outperform, AI helps me pull that data fast, but I bring the opinion and also my view. So for a roofing contractor, for example, it's a really good strategy. So use AI, and this is to your audience, use AI to analyze job costing trends, generate training SOP drafts for crews. And if you don't know what a SOP is, it's a standard operating procedure. By creating step-by-step documents that ensures routine tasks are performed consistently and correctly. And script short form content based on your real numbers, right? A lot of business owners, they have maybe 30-minute, 20-minute videos. So instead of doing it yourself, just plug it into AI. It will cut it up into 10 to 15 clips. And there you go. Now you have ways to post on the short form content. So the shift is content is no longer time limited. It's all about discipline. Because if you're not posting consistently, especially now in 2026, it's, as I said, it's not because you're busy, it's because you haven't systemized it yet. And so before we started this interview, I tried to always systemize my life because I am so tired of working all the time. And so the winners, they will treat AI like a junior analyst, right? It's a free analyst that you pretty much have. And you've built a loyal audience talking about real money. So, you know,
Literally thick. You just laid it on
sorry, I'm a
thick.
nerd sometimes.
Oh God. I'm literally like, dang, this is so, so good. I'm telling you, every time you're sharing, you're just laying it on really thick with like a really good meat, right? Like no fluff. I love how you say that. And you're giving, and I love how you're giving practicality, and I love how you're calling us out because I'm one of those where I'm like, I don't have time. It's like, no, it's because you're choosing not to shove. There's literally no excuse, right? Actually, if it wasn't for my marketing team, like going like, Taste, you got to film, and they actually sit me down like, you got to film, I probably wouldn't be doing this, you know? Like,
well, you know,
but
I that's what
so
I need. I need a marketing team. Because
yeah, I
sometimes
was
I
like,
get lazy too.
yeah, I gotta give them a shout out. They're amazing. No, that's so good. Okay, so you've built like a very loyal audience talking about real money, right? So of course you have 75,000 subscribers. It's a real audience. What's the content strategy? I know you already talked about that a little bit. That actually grows a following, and what do most creators quit too early on?
um so I think this is one of the strategies that I picked up when I first started, and that was, as I said a little bit earlier, don't do everything. The strategy is simple but hard. Pick one lane. I know everybody who is an expert in a field, they want to talk about everything. Like for example, I'm a finance channel. However, I'm not talking about credit cards. I'm not talking about loans and banking. I'm talking about stocks, crypto, wealth building, income distribution, business ownership. And I think if you just tightly keep your knowledge and your expertise into one or two lanes, I think that is the best success, because most people will post for 60 days, 90 days, get low views, and then quit. So that's like going to the gym for 6 weeks and saying, how come I don't have abs yet, right? You got to keep
Right.
pushing. You got to keep consistency. So because I focused on money, markets, and wealth building over and over, it's the same thing, but just different angles of it. So I think roofing contractors should do the same, whether you're in roofing, business ownership, contracting, a nail salon, whatever you're doing, own a niche. And maybe it's how to scale a roofing company without burning out. Stay with that. Or how to turn roofing cash flow into long-term wealth. Stay with that. So a lot of people quit too early. And because we have algorithms that love consistency, algorithm will reward you. So whether it's volume, consistency, being clear. And one thing that I've also noticed is a lot of people, they want to wait until they get all the camera, the best camera, the best microphone, everything. I think the best way to start, especially for those that have not started, is microphones are probably the only thing you really need to have good quality in, because you can have a kind of decent camera, but as long as people can hear you clear, that is all that matters. Because when I first started, I just used, what was it, like an iPhone 10, an iPhone 11, but my microphone was very clear and people can hear me. So that was the beginning of my growth. And then of course, as you're growing, you level up your equipment. But I think a lot of people should just understand that consistency is key. So for example, let's look at industries like plumbing or HVAC or even car detailing. The creators who stuck with it for 2 to 3 years are now getting deals, partnerships, and business sponsorships. Yeah, maybe they might get 1 view on their first video, maybe 100 by the 50th video, but that consistency, there will be that one video that the algorithm really, really, really loved, and that is going to be your break. So the content may not have been perfect, but it was the persistence that will get you there. So like, for example, in a finance part, trust is a compounder, right? People need to trust what you say. People need to trust you. They don't care if you're driving a Lamborghini. They don't care if you have a mansion. They care about what knowledge, what benefit are you going to provide to them. So you don't build a loyal audience by being flashy, right? Maybe 10 years down the road, you can buy that Lamborghini. But when you're starting off, when you're coming in, you don't need all of that. So my strategy has always been educate first. That is the key. Give real numbers. Be truthful, because people who know you might call you out and say, nope, that person's a liar. So give real numbers. Take a clear position. Don't be on the fence with a decision or a position that you're trying to say. If you say, you know what, buy this company or buy this stock, make it clear. Don't say, maybe you can buy it. No, buy it or don't buy it, because there's a reason for it. And of course, tell your viewers or show your viewers your long-term thinking. Most people who subscribe, they want to see you a year from now, 2 years from now. They don't want to just see you for 3 months and then you decide to quit. So most creators, they quit right before the compounding kicks in. The first 100 videos, they will feel slow, very, very slow. The next 100, hey, you might be getting that, promotion that you like. But then around 300 to 400, now people are like, okay, this person, they've been consistent. They're in this industry. They know what they're talking about. And so I think contractors, roofing contractors, business owners should think the same way when they think about, retaining earnings. Think of every post as retained attention, because as we said earlier, money is great, but attention is the new currency. If you can publish twice a week for 2 to 3 years, you now have about 200 pieces of content working for you 24/7. So I think that's an asset in 2026. And from a finance perspective, attention lowers customer acquisition costs, which can be very expensive depending on what business you're in. So if people already trust you, your sales will increase. That will improve margins. That will increase your business value. And some people might think, oh, he's posting again. He's full of himself or full of herself. Well, you know what? It's financial engineering. You build the systems, you can go to sleep, wake up to new deals.
Um, I had so many thoughts pop up as you're sharing, and I was like, what about? So I have a question because I'm totally guilty of this. So sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, this is probably something really cool. Like I love how you're like, why do you, when you said fire a client, I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to share how we decide to fire a client, right? And I was like, wait, but I can't really do that piece of content yet until I have like, I go into the studio and then I have to have them edit, and I'm like, it takes so long, or it's not as fast as I want, which is right now. So I'm like, so what would you recommend for individuals that struggle with what I do, where it's almost like nowadays it's like so much editing involved, for the content. Like, what's your feedback on that?
It's true. When I first started, it took me about 7 to 8 hours just to put out one video, because I was still learning. I was learning how to edit. I was learning how to deal with the microphone sound and all of this and all of this. And yes, it is very time consuming. However, I think when it comes to trying to, put yourself out there, don't wait. I mean, right now we all have a device in our hand that is 10 million times better than most computers these days. So take your phone, put it in front of your face, say what you have to say, and click post, because whoever sees it, they're going to see it. And if they like what you said, they're going to subscribe and follow. I think a lot of people do overthink things, right? As I said, they want the latest equipment before they start. They want to get to the studio before they start. I mean, I'm a culprit sometimes. Sometimes I'll have a great idea, but I don't want to just use my phone. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to go to the studio and put it in. But the ones who really are the winners are the ones that will post wherever they are. They're driving, an idea pops up, they're posting. They're, with a friend, they're having a great conversation. They're like, hey, friend, can I record this conversation? It's going to be top notch. Boom. Now there's a post. I think if people just understood that posting, yes, it could be scary because you are in the public eye. But if you have something great to say, if you have something that you want to put out there, maybe something just happened to you 10 minutes ago and you want people to know about it, just do it. It is scary, but it's worth it. When you start seeing the analytics, the growth, you're like, you know what? After that 50th video, now you're just accustomed to it. You just feel like a celebrity. You're like, oh, cameras everywhere.
Okay, that's good. It's just, I guess this comes with practice. Like, and I think that's the thing. It's the delay, but I love how you're saying the winners just, they go. It wasn't by accident. It was 100% intentional, right?
Yeah, and
And I
like
think you just get
sometimes
over your
and
fear.
yeah, and like sometimes, like for example, I'll be watching someone and they're sitting in their car talking, even though it's not professional, it's not a studio, but what they're saying, I'm actually utilizing it for my next investment plan. So I think people should just do it. If you know what you're talking about, if you love what you're doing too, just do it. Just post it.
Okay, I love it. I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to tell you that I just did it. I'm like, I just did it. No, I love it.
I will be
Okay,
like thumbs up, thumbs up.
let's do it. Okay, Jacob, we're getting close to the end, but for this part here, for our roofing contractors or anyone listening to this, they're a business owner, right? You're a business owner, and they want to build kind of exactly what you said. Hey, I want to build audience, and I also want real wealth all at the same time, right? And that's of course ideal. So where do they even begin? Like, where do they begin?
Okay, so I'm gonna answer this like a portfolio manager, not a creator. Start with your balance sheet and your phone. Most business owners focus on revenue, not equity. So revenue feeds your lifestyle, but equity builds your freedom, right? So first, tighten your operations, know your margins, systemize installs, build management. That right there is your foundation. Then document it. Show the journey of building a real business, not just a busy one, right? Sometimes you might see on Instagram, oh, this person is really, really, really busy, but you kind of don't know why they're busy, right? So when people see you thinking long term, investing your profits, buying assets, maybe even buying smaller competitors, you are now attracting better clients and better opportunities. And people who are trying to do that are now going to now viewing your content. So look at how people in real estate use social media. They show deals, numbers, renovations, lessons they learned, mistakes they made. That visibility brings investors. And roofing and contracting and small business ownership is no different. So if you're doing $7 million with strong margins and showing your process online, you're not just a contractor anymore. You're becoming a brand, and brands get multiples when they sell. So the starting point, get financially disciplined. Pick your message, pick your lane, post consistently, reinvest profits into assets, not liabilities. So, if you made that first million and you want that Lamborghini, I think you can wait till you get to your fifth million, right? You don't need to start buying cars right away. Reinvest your profits, as I said, into assets, not liabilities, and build cash flow in the business and attention outside the business. So when I meet business owners, I always tell them, money is what's happening in the business, but outside your business, money is the attention. If you're not getting attention, yeah, you might still get good business, but you could get much bigger business, right? So I think that's how you build real wealth, not just a job with a big income. So here's a few steps that a contractor or business owner can do right now. And this is something that I learned from Mark Story, a contractor I interviewed recently that took his business to a whole new level. And of course, I got to plug this in, but you can check that interview out on my channel, another
Totally.
Jacob Rant. So a few things that he mentioned was step one, fix the foundation. You need predictable margins, clean books, and operational systems. No serious wealth is built on chaos. So if you're doing 5 million at 8% net, your first goal is getting that to 15% through pricing efficiency, leadership. That's an extra almost $300,000 a year just in capital. Next step, I would say, is allocate your capital intelligently. Don't just upgrade trucks and tools. Instead, invest the excess profits into assets. So maybe you want to invest in the stock market or private equity deals, maybe real estate, maybe even acquiring a smaller business that is probably either your competition, or maybe you feel like, hey, I can bring this company on and we can grow even bigger. So make your profits work for you and not spending it on, lavish vacations. And finally, the third step is now when we come in with the content, build a public brand around the journey. So document scaling from 5 million to 10 million. Show how you're investing your profits. Show the mind shift from operator to owner. That will attract, in my opinion, higher end clients, partnerships, and it will bring in investors that you never even know you could attract. So, for example, in finance, wealth comes from ownership and systems. If your company, for example, a business company runs without you and you have a brand attached to it, your exit multiple increases. So you're not selling a job, you're selling a system with visibility. And if those people watching are wondering, well, where do I begin? Well, get your numbers tight, pick your message, commit to consistent posting for at least 24 months, because I never got to 75,000 subscribers in 1 year or 2 years. I probably got most of my subscribers in year 3, because the first 2 years, you're getting the algorithm to love you. You need that algorithm to love you. Once that algorithm loves you, the audience trusts you. Now you can post pretty much whatever you want, and the algorithm will always favor you. And once you have that consistency, reinvest your profits like an investor, not a spender, right? As I said, I have so many friends in business, but they love their toys, they love cars, they love great food, they love their vacations. But at the same time, they're not doing it off of their first million or their second million. They're doing it once they've hit 5 to 10, maybe 15 million. And I think that's how you build two compounding machines at the same time: cash flow and attention. And when both compound together, that's when real wealth shows up, in my opinion. And I'm still, in the beginning stages of being a content creator, but I just got to keep pushing.
And of course,
Thank
it
you.
was also very intentional. So, all right, as we're getting ready to wrap this up, Jacob, where can people find you and follow your work? And if for anyone listening who realized their back end is the thing holding them back, right? So knowing that, that's exactly what we do here at Saenz Global, by the way, if you're a roofing contractor.
So I am on a few platforms. So of course, YouTube is my main platform. That's where you can get all the long form content. So most interviews are between 20 minutes to an hour. That is at another Jacob Rant, ANOTHER JACOB RANT on YouTube. On Instagram and LinkedIn, we do have the shorts. So we chop it up and we have, 1 minute to 3 minute clips of interviews that we've done. So on LinkedIn and Instagram, it is on Instagram, it is another Jacob Rant, same as YouTube, but on LinkedIn, it is just Jacob Rant, JACOB RANT. And if any of your audience members wants to message me, reach out to me, ask me questions about stock market, crypto, anything like that, I am always available. I love helping people. That's one of the reasons why I created my channel. It's not for the wealth and fame. It's actually to just tell people and let people know that making money is not as hard as it is. It's not as scary as it is, because it's just money.
Well, Jacob, thank you so much for coming on the show. I have to say, I think you were one of my favorite episodes. So I will favorite people to be on our podcast. I just love the energy you bring, and also the knowledge that you bring. You lay it on thick, but yet so simple that you really help others get motivated to do it. So if you don't follow Jacob, 100% go. It's going to be really, really valuable to your life, to your business. And once again, Jacob, thank you so much for being on our show. And everybody else, we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.